Thank you all for joining us tonight for our senior parent meeting. Tonight, we're going to be sharing some information about really closing out the year and the final information that we have regarding both graduation and a couple of other senior events. So I do want to share with you that tonight, this webinar is being recorded, so it will be available on YouTube. And also to let you know that we are monitoring the Q&A. So if you have a question, feel free to drop that in there, and one of the other participants who's not talking at the time will try to answer it. If it's something they know is going to be answered a little bit later in the presentation, they may say that it'll be answered later in the presentation. But our goal is to provide you with accurate and up-to-date information as quickly as we can, and hopefully we'll be able to answer your questions also. So tonight we're going to talk about how to finish out the senior year strong, talk about some of the points of contact, share information about graduation, about an event called the Senior Carnival, which you may have heard referred to if you watch any Board of Education meetings as a Unity Day. Talk a little bit about the AP testing schedule and just share some information about a few other topics, such as returning materials, cap and gown distribution, some of those other logistical things that are important for seniors to know. But we're going to start off first with really putting into context finishing the senior year strong. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Levine.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mooney, and good evening, senior class families. Thank you for being here this evening. My name is Sam Levine. I'm one of the assistant principals at BCC, and I am the 12th grade administrator this year. So thank you for being here. I'm going to just take you through a few pieces of information as we enter the home stretch of senior year for your students. It's important that students are regularly checking their grades on Synergy. The students can access their grades through Student View and parents and guardians through Parent View. So it's important that students are regularly, monitoring their grades. It's also important that students are communicating with teachers, counselors, and administrators if they have any questions about their grades. And of course, parents and guardians, please feel free to reach out to teachers, counselors, and administrators as well. We're happy to support in any way that we can. Very important note here is for students to make sure that they are prepared to return instructional materials at the end of the school year, but also that they are paying any outstanding financial obligations that they may have. It's also important to note that if students do not pay financial obligations that they currently have, that it could delay final transcripts. So it's important that they are paying those by graduation. Families can visit the online school payments website, which is linked on the BCC website. And actually you can check your child's status through that website. And then you can also pay directly through the online school payment site if you do notice that they have any obligations. So please make sure that your children are monitoring that. And again, we encourage all families to visit the online school payment site just to make sure that they're aware of the current situation with financial obligations. And lastly is just, a note around staying connected. There's a lot of information that will be presented tonight. And momentarily, actually, I'll be speaking about important points of contact. And so we encourage you just to reach out if you have any questions at all, and really just to keep an eye out. Students, keeping an eye on their school email. That's where we send a lot of announcements and updates. And then also to monitor Dr. Mooney's weekly bulletin, where a lot of information comes out that way as well. So again, I'm the senior class administrator. With us this evening, we have Miss Lloyd, our senior class advisor. So you'll hear from her later this evening. And we also have our graduation coordinator, Miss Schaus, and she'll be speaking this evening as well. And then our senior class president is JD Gorman, and Miss Bonner is our school registrar. And so she is the point person for any questions around transcripts. So please feel free to reach out to any one of us at any time. You can also reach out to your child's counselor if you have any questions. But we are entering the home stretch, so we just want to make sure students and families have all the information that they need. So we welcome any outreach, and we'll be happy to assist any way we can. So thanks again for being here this evening.
I apologize. Next, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about one of the most important parts of our presentation tonight. I am very happy to announce that just this morning we learned that Montgomery County Department of Health and Human Services had approved the waiver to allow BCC to hold our graduation on our field at BCC. That is scheduled for 9 a.m. on Friday, June 4th. And again, that'll be in the stadium. There will be 2 rain dates for that. If the 9 a.m. on the 4th doesn't work, the first rain date is 6 p.m. on the 4th, and the second rain date is 9 a.m. on Saturday, June 5th. So those are important to mark down, the goal being that we are able to get it in sometime within that 24-hour period. It is important to know that because of both the limitations that we have in Montgomery County and the limitations that the Department of Health and Human Services put on us, that each graduate is going to be limited to no more than 2 guests. There is a survey that I sent out last week to seniors and their parents. Every senior who has an MCPS email account, every senior has an MCPS email account, and that is what they need to use to access that survey. They are able to do it. We've already gotten about 300 responses. I do want to say that if for students who don't respond, we will actually be starting some individual outreach. We do know that there is either people who are struggling to do it or people for whom the email is not the best way to get in touch with them, but we want to have as accurate information about as many of our seniors as possible. So there's some information that we need to get there. Even though the number of guests is limited, there actually will be live streaming of the ceremony via a camera system that's been installed on our field called NFHS. Closer to the time of graduation, we'll be sending out a link, but it's actually the same system. If any of you have chosen to view any of our athletic contests, it's the same system that is used for those. This graduation will be free and it will be streamed live. Most of the athletic contests, you have to buy a monthly subscription in order to see them. But the ceremony will be free and it will be streamed live and available for anyone who is not in attendance to view. In terms of the information that's important right now, Mr. Levine mentioned earlier that we are asking students to pay obligations now. There are no obligations other than AP exams in for current seniors that are based on this year, and those aren't the ones that we're worried about, but we do have several seniors who have obligations from freshman, sophomore, and junior years that we're asking you to take care of in advance right now. Again, you can go to the online school payment system, which is in the bottom right-hand corner of the BCC website, and click. And even if you don't know if you have one, if you log into OSP and put in your child's ID number, it actually will show you whether or not they have an obligation. Someone did ask in the chat about getting funds back that might be on deposit, such as at the cafeteria. So I will add, there's a form you use to request those funds, and I will add that to my weekly bulletin this week. I do not have access to it right now, or if later when someone else is talking, I'm able to pull it up really quickly, I will do that also. We are going to do a materials return and distribution at the same time. And those times and dates will be on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right after Memorial Day and right before graduation. We are asking students to bring back their materials. If you have a BCC or an MCPS Chromebook, any textbooks that you might have, any library books, anything that you have that belongs to BCC, you can return it in that window, and we will collect that from you. And at the same time, we'll be distributing caps and gowns for those who have ordered them, any honor cords, copies of the program, and tickets to graduation at that time. So it will be critical for you to come and get that information from us. So again, that's 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. There is a small group of our seniors who have not ordered a cap and gown. And I just want to say, if you still need to get a cap and gown, you just need to reach out to Ms. Schaus. She can still work with our vendor to make that happen, but we are running short on time. So you can reach out to her via email is probably the best way to get in touch with her, but do that now as soon as possible. We also will be holding a virtual graduation rehearsal where we talk with students about what they need to do. It's very different from anything we've done. We aren't able to have a rehearsal in person. So we will be doing a virtual graduation rehearsal that will be done via Zoom on June 3rd at 11:30 a.m. And we will email that Zoom link to all students once we get a little bit closer to that time. The last thing is just a reminder, if you had purchased your cap and gown before Montgomery County decided to allocate $45 for every student, you should have received a reimbursement check from us. Please deposit that check as soon as possible so that we can reconcile our books for the end of the year. And if for some reason you paid full price and you have not received a reimbursement check, please reach out to our financial office, either Ms. Liebskind or Ms. Teicher, to inquire about that. And we can tell you what address it went to and figure out what our next steps would be if you haven't yet received it. Finally, just a couple of statements about graduation, because this is different from what we've done before. Because we will be graduating on our turf field, we are asking that everyone wear soft-soled dress shoes or athletic shoes on the playing field. Spikes, heels, and boots shouldn't be worn on the field, partly because they may damage it, but also partly because of how the field is structured. If you wear something that has a spike or a heel, you may get caught or twist an ankle or do something that's unfortunate for yourself. So we're just asking that to make sure that soft-soled shoes or athletic shoes are worn during graduation. It's also just to let you know that during the graduation ceremony, we will only be using pre-recorded music. Our fantastic music programs at BCC found out about this about 3 weeks ago, and they've been busy working on making sure that we have the high standard that we're accustomed to at BCC, but it will be pre-recorded movie. So we will also, in addition to broadcasting live, as I mentioned earlier, we will also be recording the event to post it online and distribute afterwards. We won't have any details of that until after we get it, processed and our media specialist and media services tech get a chance to work with that. But we will have that opportunity for both it to be broadcast live and being recorded for people to have access afterwards. We, as a part of our waiver, we are required to have a separate entrance and exit from the stadium. And so we're still working out the details of that, but right now it looks like we will have people guests enter on the side near the parking deck and then exit through the Chelton Street side. That is the current plan, but all of those details will be sent out a little bit later and will be shared during that graduation rehearsal. We will have seating in pairs, so we have the option in that senior survey for seniors to indicate that there would be two guests from the same household who could be seated side by side. For example, if my wife and I went to a graduation ceremony, we could be seated side by side. And then we'll have some single seats that we have around also. All of those will be appropriately spaced at 6 feet, which is what the county is requiring us to do in our waiver. So just to know kind of what that will look like as we go. All of the graduates will also be seated on the field at 6 feet apart. As we go there too. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Schaus to talk about graduation pictures and a couple of other items.
Good evening. I'm Linda Schaus and I'm the graduation coordinator. So I just wanted to give you a couple more details. Some people have asked questions about pictures. We always have a company, and for the last couple of years it has been this company here, Victor O'Neill, and so we'll have a professional photographer there who will take pictures as the graduates are going across the stage and getting their diplomas. And then you will be able to access those pictures using this code after graduation. And then it's up to you whether or not you want to purchase any of those pictures. So we just wanted to give you that information here during this presentation. So a couple of other things. The last day for seniors is May 28th. And also, we talked about bringing back textbooks and Chromebooks and uniforms and instruments and things like that. The seniors can also bring them back on May 28th, or as the days, the final days that they're in school. They don't have to wait till the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to bring them back. So they might want to do it in several different days as their last days are winding down. MCPS did pay for and have lawn signs made for all seniors, and seniors can pick those up on May 5th, 19th, and the 26th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's near the cafeteria doors. So you're going to enter the bus loop from the East-West Highway, and then you're going to go down near the cafeteria door. So you'll enter like you're going to the main entrance, and just before you get to the main entrance, you'll stop there and you'll be able to pick up. Okay, what just happened?
Do you need me to jump in, Ms. Schaus?
Yeah, you're gone.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I apologize. That's what technology does to us sometimes. So the last kind of topic there is that we do know at the end of the senior year, as grades are closed out and final transcripts and there are questions about that sort of stuff, we just want to remind you that you can always, the first stop is to reach out to your child's counselor. And then if there are questions about whether or not a transcript has been sent or how that works out, you can also reach out to Ms. Maureen Bonner, who is our registrar. So those are the two important stops for that.
I am back.
You're back. All right. I'm going to
back.
talk about AP and IB testing then.
Yes, I got a phone call and it canceled off the screen. So anyway, I'm also the AP coordinator. I am not the IB coordinator, but I am the AP coordinator. And I just wanted to, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We've had meetings about this, but just to highlight that the College Board is offering 3 different testing sites. Make sure that especially your senior knows when they're going to take the various exams, and those links have been sent out through your Synergy accounts, both to parents and to students. So please look at those Synergy emails because that's where we're sending all of the information and any updates, anything that comes up between now and the exam date. And I've been sending out messages to individual students who are about to take an exam because next week is our first exams. And so I'll continue to use those Synergy accounts. Make sure that all unpaid AP exams are paid for by May 7th. Any exam that is not paid for by May 7th will be canceled. So make sure that you are checking with your student. Your student can go on to the AP site, and on the very first page, it'll say all the exams that they're registered for. If they don't plan to take that exam, there's a Google form to cancel. And then you can also find links to go ahead and pay for the exam if you haven't paid for it already. And also, Dr. Mooney sent out all those links 2 days ago, Dr. Mooney? I think you sent that out? Or was that yesterday?
Yesterday, I think.
Yesterday, okay. And so there are some steps that students have to take any digital exam. And so please make sure that they are talking with their teachers, and their teachers are going to help them through that process. So the AP teachers are your first source to make sure that students are doing what they should to be prepared to take the digital exams. As most of you probably already know, the IB exams are not being given this year to MCPS students, and their grades are based on their IAs.
Ms. Lloyd?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jen Lloyd. I am the senior class sponsor. And I wanted to talk about this event that we're very excited about. The SGA, the Student Government Association for the senior class, and administration. We've been working really hard to get our senior unity event together. So we're not calling it senior unity event. We thought senior carnival was a little bit more fun. But we will be hosting this on Wednesday, May 19th, 1 to 3 p.m. And it will be on BCC's front lawn on the east-west highway side. We will have it rain or shine, but in the event of rain, we'll move under the covered parking garage. Students will be required to wear masks and social distance, but it'll still be really fun. We'll have games and door prizes and music. It will be seniors only, and all seniors must arrive by 2 p.m. and they cannot re-enter once they leave. And I think this one's also mine. Just a couple ways to stay in touch with us and get important information about the end of the year. Your students' Synergy email, the BCC website, our SGA Instagram always posts important updates, and our SGA Instagram handle is right there. Dr. Mooney's weekly updates, the morning announcements, which are sent through Synergy, and then also the PTSA listserv.
Thank you, Ms. Lloyd. So we are at the point now where we are able to answer questions. I know we've been answering some back and forth in the chat, but I do have there were a couple of questions about this slide, just to make sure everyone saw it. So we will put this flyer in with our cap and gown distribution so you have it, because if you texted that number now or visited that website, there would be nothing in it. But you're more than welcome to take a photo or write down the information you need right now. But we'll be sharing that with students closer to graduation also, and with you all. So that's there. And then I think we are caught up. I'm looking at my panelists. I think we are caught up with our Q&A. I will, yes, I'll go back to the senior carnival slide in just a second. I'll give people about 30 more seconds on this slide, and then I'll go back over to that one. In a nutshell, the senior carnival slide is an opportunity for the seniors to get together on May 19th between 1 and 3, just to have a little celebration at BCC. It has to be that early because it has to be at least 2 weeks before our graduation, just in case. So that's where we are with the date. So going back to that slide. So while we are on this slide, I will answer the question. Well, I will say that we have an estimated ship date on yearbooks for actually the week right before Memorial Day, but our publisher has told us that everything is moving slowly. So we may have to do a distribution of yearbooks for students who bought them, similar to what we did last year, which is unfortunately in the summer after we have done most everything else. That is still pending. If we get them in time, our goal is to get them out with caps and gowns, but our distributor has told us that everything seems to be running slow right now. If your child is having trouble accessing the survey, and they are definitely in their MCPS account, they can reach out to Mr. Levine via email and he will help you work through that. So that is the thing. So there is a senior award ceremony. I would love to tell you the date, but I'd have to flip off the slide and get it on my calendar. I'm going to say it's the last week of May. I think it's Tuesday, May 25th, if that's actually a Tuesday, but I don't have my calendar up in front of me. But we'll be sending out information about that. I'll put the graduation date slide back up in a second. If you have a question about an obligation that's showing up on the website, you should reach out to Ms. Teicher or Ms. Liebskind to make sure that that's cleared. They are responsible for updating it. So just make sure that that is handled through the financial office at BCC. I'm going to go back to the graduation date slide. Sorry. Here is the date. Friday, June 4th at 9 a.m. If that is rained out, Friday, June 4th at 6 p.m. And if that is also rained out, Saturday, June 6th at 9 a.m. We are unable to honor requests for any extra tickets. Every student, part of what we have to do is keep track of who's coming in. That's one of the requirements that we have for getting the waiver. So it will be based on, if my child requests 2 tickets, then they get 2 tickets. If they request 1 ticket, they get 1 ticket. And that's how we will keep track of it. Information about what time students will show up on June 4th will be shared a little later. We're still working out all the logistics of how graduation will look and how, for example, the processional will work at BCC. That's part of what will be done in the graduation rehearsal, because we've never had a graduation like this at BCC. So we're still working through some of those. I would anticipate it will be an hour to an hour and a half before the ceremony, but that's just me guessing. Seats will, I believe, be first come, first serve basis. There will clearly be some seating though where there's pairs together, as we were talking about earlier, and then individual seats. So there will be some limits on that. I'm sorry, I touched my mouse and it moves away from the presentation. So the link for the graduation survey was sent via Synergy last Friday to both senior parents and students. Every senior parent got that. If you don't have that link, you can email me and I'll send you the link again. It does have to be filled out by your child through their MCPS account. But that went out again last Friday. And then if you were on the PTSA listserv, I also sent it again this morning to the PTSA listserv. Thank you for posting that. I appreciate that. Again, it does have to be filled out using the student's Google account. But if you have the link saved, you can at least get it to your child. And we'll just leave that in the Q&A. If you don't happen to be looking at it, Miss Paris, I apologize if I mispronounced your last name, posted the link to the survey. So at this point, we are going to end the webinar. Thank you so much for attending tonight. We really appreciate your work to help us get to graduation. I'm going to answer this last question. So until I honestly don't even know what the county council or the county executive said today, but until at least this morning, MCP or Montgomery County had a limit on 250 students in an outdoor gathering, and we had to get a waiver in order to have graduation at BCC because we have 560 graduates plus whatever number of staff we will have there, plus up to 2 parents per graduate. So the math just goes up pretty quickly. In terms of paying for anything for graduation, cap and gown cost is it. And Ms. Schaus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is $8 for the cap and gown. Otherwise, there are no fees for graduation. And in the state testing requirements and SSL requirements were waived by the state. So at this point, the only requirements that students have to graduate are the requirements for credits. So thank you all. So you do not have to buy tickets for graduation. You need to have your child fill out the form, that the survey that's actually in the Q&A right there above you. It's filled out through your child's Google account. And then based on the 1 or 2 tickets that you request, 2 is the maximum, they will be in your cap and gown bag when you get that on June 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. So at this point, we are going to end the webinar. I appreciate your time tonight. Feel free to reach out to any of us on this webinar, me, Mr. Levine, Ms. Schaus, or Ms. Lloyd, if you have any questions about graduation. And we will definitely be posting the recording of this. It will be in my weekly bulletin and also sent out on the listserv as soon as I get it processed tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thanks. Good night.